The moment Simone saw Brandon's face twist with disgust, she knew. She knew that asking him for $300 would reveal everything she needed to see. But nothing prepared her for what came next. $300? Brandon laughed, actually laughed as they stood in their driveway. Are you serious right now? For your dad's funeral expenses? Simone, your father barely acknowledged you existed. Why should I pay for his funeral? Simone's hands shook as she held her phone. Just 2 hours ago she'd received 2 calls. The first told her that her father had passed away after a sudden heart attack. The second call came from a lawyer named Mr. Harrison, informing her that she needed to come to his office regarding her father's estate. The lawyer had hinted at something significant but refused to discuss details over the phone. Before going to that meeting, Simone wanted to test her husband one final time. Their marriage had been rocky for months. Brandon had become distant, cold, always on his phone. But she'd promised herself she would try one more time. Just $300. That's all she asked for. Brandon, my father just died. I need help with the funeral cost. Just $300. I'll pay you back. Pay me back with what? Brandon's voice dripped with contempt. You don't even have a job, Simone. You sit at home all day doing nothing. I'm tired of carrying this marriage financially. I'm tired of carrying you. A car pulled up behind Brandon. A woman stepped out, tall and polished, wearing designer clothes. Tiffany from Brandon's office. Simone had met her at the company holiday party. Brandon, baby, are we still going to dinner? Tiffany called out, walking toward them with confidence. The world stopped spinning. Baby? Simone whispered. Brandon didn't even have the decency to look ashamed. Yes, Simone. Tiffany and I have been seeing each other for 8 months. I was going to tell you eventually. She's everything you're not. She has ambition, drive, her own money. She doesn't ask me for handouts. Tiffany slipped her arm through Brandon's, smiling at Simone with false sympathy. Nothing personal. Brandon deserves someone who matches his energy. Simone stood there, watching her husband of 6 years stand with another woman, refusing to give her $300 while her father lay dead. Something inside her went completely still. Not broken. So, I see, Simone said quietly. I understand completely now. Good, Brandon said. Makes this easier. I want a divorce. You can stay in the house until you find somewhere else to go. I'll be staying at Tiffany's place. We'll figure out the paperwork later. They drove off together, leaving Simone standing in the driveway. She waited until their car disappeared around the corner. Then she got in her own modest sedan and drove to Mr. Harrison's office downtown. The law firm occupied the top 3 floors of the tallest building in the city. Simone had never been in a place this fancy. The receptionist led her to a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. Mr. Harrison was a distinguished man in his 60s with kind eyes. He stood when she entered and shook her hand warmly. Miss Simone, please accept my deepest condolences for your loss. Your father spoke of you often. He did. Simone was surprised. Her father had left when she was 10. They'd only reconnected in the last year, having coffee once a month. She thought he barely remembered her existence, just like Brandon said. Indeed. He regretted the lost years deeply. That's why he made absolutely certain his estate would go to you. Every single asset. Mr. Harrison opened a folder and slid papers across the desk. Your father built a tech empire over 30 years. He sold his company 2 years ago but maintained significant investments. Miss Simone, you have inherited his entire estate. The total value after taxes is $3,200,000,000. The office started spinning. I'm sorry, Simone said. Did you say million? Billion. With a B. $3.2 billion. Simone couldn't breathe. $3 billion. She'd just been denied $300. 300. And she had $3 billion. Your father left specific instructions. He wanted you to have complete financial freedom. The money is yours, no strings attached. There are properties, investment accounts, stock portfolios. Everything is detailed here. Mr. Harrison spent the next hour walking her through everything. Simone signed papers in a daze. She now owned a house in Aspen, an apartment in New York, a villa in Italy. She had stock in companies she'd heard of and many she hadn't. She had more money than she could spend in 10 lifetimes. I need you to promise me something, Simone said finally. No one can know about this yet. Not yet. Mr. Harrison nodded. Attorney-client privilege. Your secret is completely safe. Simone drove home in silence. Brandon's car wasn't there. Good. She walked into their small, modest house. Brandon had always complained it wasn't big enough, wasn't nice enough. She'd spent 6 years trying to make this house a home, trying to make Brandon happy, trying to be enough. She'd asked him for $300. He'd said no. He'd chosen another woman instead. Simone started laughing, then crying, then laughing again. Her phone buzzed. A text from Brandon: "Don't wait up. Staying at Tiffany's tonight. We need space." Simone looked at the legal documents in her hands. She looked around the house she'd cleaned and maintained while Brandon built his career. She thought about 8 months of lies, 8 months of him with Tiffany while she cooked his dinners and ironed his shirts. $300. She picked up her phone and called Mr. Harrison back. "I need a divorce attorney. The best one in the city. Money is no object." "I'll have someone at your house within the hour," Mr. Harrison replied. Simone hung up and smiled. Brandon thought he was leaving her with nothing. He had no idea what was coming. The test was over. And Brandon had failed spectacularly. The divorce attorney arrived exactly 1 hour later. Patricia Chin was a sharp woman in her 40s with a reputation for destroying cheating spouses in court. She sat at Simone's kitchen table and listened to everything. "Let me get this straight," Patricia said, making notes. "He denied you $300 for your father's funeral, revealed his affair, and asked for a divorce. All while having no idea you just inherited billions." "That's correct." Patricia smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "This is going to be fun. But we need to be strategic. First, we file for legal separation immediately. That establishes a cutoff date for marital assets. Since the inheritance came after, it's completely yours. He can't touch it." "What about the house? Do you want it?" Simone looked around. 6 years of memories. All of them now tainted. "No. He can have it. I want nothing that reminds me of him." "Perfect. That actually works in our favor. We'll be generous with the assets acquired during marriage. It'll make you look good in court and leave him with no grounds to contest anything." Over the next week, Simone's life split in two. During the day, she met with financial advisors and real estate agents. At night, she came home to the empty house and pretended to be the abandoned wife. Brandon came by 3 days later to pick up more clothes. He barely looked at her. "Have you thought about where you'll go?" he asked, stuffing shirts into a suitcase. "I'll figure something out. You should get a job. Learn to support yourself. Maybe this will be good for you." Simone bit her tongue. She'd spent the morning touring a penthouse that cost more than Brandon would make in his entire lifetime. "Maybe you're right." Brandon seemed pleased. "Tiffany says I'm too soft on you. She thinks you've been taking advantage of me for years." "Tiffany says a lot, doesn't she?" "She's smart. Successful. She makes 6 figures, you know." Simone almost laughed. 6 figures. She'd made 6 figures in interest while eating breakfast that morning. Good for her. Brandon zipped his suitcase. "The divorce papers should be ready next week. Sign them quickly, okay? Tiffany and I want to move on with our lives." After he left, Simone called her best friend Nicole. "He's really going through with it," Nicole said. "I can't believe Brandon would do this. I need to tell you something. But you have to promise to keep it secret." Simone told her everything. There was silence on the other end of the line. "Shut up," Nicole finally said. "I'm serious. $3 billion? Billion? Yes. And Brandon doesn't know?" "Not yet." Nicole started laughing hysterically. Oh my God. This is the best revenge story I've ever heard. What are you going to do?" "First, I'm going to disappear. I found a penthouse downtown. I'm moving my things there slowly. Brandon never pays attention anyway." "Does he suspect anything?" "Nothing. He thinks I'm pathetic and broke. He told me to get a job today. I hate him. I've always hated him." "You never said anything. You loved him. Or thought you did." "But Simone, he's shown his true colors now. He denied you $300. 300. While you're worth billions." "I know. That's what makes this so clear. I wasn't asking for much. Just to see if he'd be there when I needed him. And he wasn't. He chose another woman instead." "So what's the plan?" "I'm going to let him think he's winning. Let him have the divorce, the house, everything from our marriage. Then I'm going to build a life so incredible that he'll realize exactly what he lost. No revenge. The best revenge is living well. Brandon will destroy himself. I just need to get out of the way and let him." Over the next 2 weeks, Simone executed her plan perfectly. She hired movers who came during the day while Brandon was at work. They took only her personal items, things he'd never notice were gone. She left all the furniture, all the decorations, everything they'd bought together. She opened bank accounts in her name only. She established credit cards with unlimited spending. She hired a personal shopper and updated her entire wardrobe. The penthouse was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows with city views, modern kitchen, 3 bedrooms, and a balcony that wrapped around the entire space. It cost $30,000 a month. Simone paid a year up front in cash. She furnished it with careful attention. Everything was elegant but comfortable. This was her space now. Her sanctuary. Brandon never questioned where she went during the day. He assumed she was job hunting or staying with Nicole. The truth was, Simone was building an empire. She met with Mr. Harrison and Patricia several times a week, setting up foundations and trusts. She invested in real estate and startups. She made her money work for her. "You're a natural at this," Mr. Harrison said during one meeting. "Your father would be proud. I wish I'd known him better. He watched you from afar. He knew about Brandon, about how he treated you. He wanted you to have the resources to be free." Simone felt tears sting her eyes. Her father had given her the ultimate gift, not just money, but the power to choose her own life. At home, Brandon became more hostile. He complained about bills. He demanded Simone sign papers transferring her half of the house to him. She signed without argument. "You're being surprisingly reasonable about this," Brandon said suspiciously. "What's the point in fighting? You've made your choice. I just want to move on." "Good. Tiffany wants to redecorate anyway. She says this place looks cheap." Simone looked around the house she decorated with love and care. "I hope she's very happy here." She meant it, because soon none of this would matter. The divorce papers came. Simone read through them carefully with Patricia. "He's asking for nothing from you because he thinks you have nothing," Patricia noted. "And he's giving you nothing in return." "Perfect. You could take him for so much more." "I don't want his money. I want my freedom." Simone signed the papers. Just like that, 6 years of marriage ended. She didn't tell Brandon she'd already moved out. She didn't tell him about the penthouse or the money or anything. She just signed the papers and mailed them back. Then she blocked his number and never looked back. For 3 weeks after signing the divorce papers, Simone lived 2 lives. Legally, she was still in the waiting period before the divorce finalized. Practically, she was already free. Every morning, she woke up in her penthouse to sunrise views over the city. She'd have coffee on the balcony, checking investment reports and emails from her financial team. Then she'd dress in her new clothes and go about her day. She never went back to the house she'd shared with Brandon. There was nothing there she wanted anymore. Nicole came over one evening with wine and takeout from an expensive restaurant. "I still can't believe this is your place," Nicole said, looking around. "It's like something from a magazine. It feels like mine." The house never did. That was Brandon's space. I just lived there. "Have you heard from him?" "I blocked his number the day I signed the papers. Patricia says the divorce will be final in 3 more weeks." "And then what?" "Then I start my real life." Simone had been planning her foundation for weeks. She'd met with nonprofit experts and lawyers, structuring it carefully. The foundation would focus on helping women escape financial abuse and domestic violence. It would provide resources, job training, housing assistance, and legal support. "I'm calling it the Gloria Foundation after my mother," Simone explained. "She struggled financially her whole life after my father left. I want to help women who feel trapped like she did." "That's beautiful. The official launch is in 6 weeks. I'm starting with a $50 million endowment." Nicole choked on her wine. $50 million? It's nothing compared to what I have. And it's everything to the women it'll help. Meanwhile, Brandon's life continued without Simone. She knew this because Patricia kept tabs on everything through legal channels. Brandon had moved Tiffany into the house completely. They'd redecorated just like Tiffany wanted. He posted photos on social media, Nicole reported, scrolling through her phone. "New furniture, new paint colors. It looks completely different." "Good. It's not my home anymore." But trouble was brewing in paradise. Patricia had connections everywhere, and word was that Tiffany was expensive. Designer clothes, fancy dinners, weekend trips. Brandon's salary was good, but not good enough to maintain Tiffany's lifestyle. "She's pushing him to propose," Patricia mentioned during one meeting. "My sources say she wants a ring that costs at least $30,000. He denied me $300 for my father's funeral," Simone said quietly. "Karma is already working." Simone spent her days building her new life. She took art classes at the community college. She volunteered at women's shelters, learning about their needs and challenges. She worked with architects to design a facility that would serve as the foundation's headquarters and emergency shelter. She also started therapy. Dr. Williams was a kind woman who specialized in emotional abuse and divorce recovery. "You're doing remarkably well," Dr. Williams said during their 4th session. "Most people in your situation would be devastated." I was devastated. But then I realized something. Brandon didn't leave me. He freed me. He showed me exactly who he was, and I finally believed him. The $300. Yes. It wasn't about the money. It was about him choosing to hurt me when I was vulnerable. About him choosing another woman over basic human decency. That moment clarified everything. And the inheritance? It gave me options. But I would have left him anyway. I just would have had to struggle more. Do you ever think about revenge? Simone considered this. I think about justice. I think about him realizing what he lost. But I don't want to hurt him. I just want to live so well that his rejection becomes the biggest mistake of his life. That's very mature. My father left me more than money. He left me the power to choose. I choose happiness. The foundation came together beautifully. Simone hired a team of dedicated professionals who believed in the mission. She found a building downtown and began renovations. She set up programs and partnerships. One afternoon, while visiting the construction site, she met Jerome. He was there consulting on the security systems for the shelter portion of the building. "You're doing something incredible here," he said, reviewing the floor plans. "I've worked on a lot of projects, but this one matters." Jerome was handsome in a quiet way. Tall, with warm brown eyes and a gentle voice. He treated Simone with respect, listening when she explained her vision. "Security is crucial," Simone explained. "These women are escaping dangerous situations. They need to feel safe." "I understand. My mother was in a shelter when I was 8. It saved our lives." They talked for hours about the project, about their lives, about everything. When they parted, Jerome handed her his card. "If you ever want to discuss the project more," he said, "or just talk." Simone found herself smiling as she drove home. Meanwhile, Brandon's Instagram showed cracks forming. The photos became less frequent. When they appeared, Brandon looked tired. Tiffany's smile seemed forced. Nicole did some digging through mutual friends. "Brandon's in debt," she reported. "Tiffany convinced him to buy her that ring. He took out a loan. And she's planning a huge wedding that he can't afford. That's unfortunate. You don't care at all, do you?" "I care that he's learning consequences. But no, I don't care about him personally anymore. That person died the day he denied me $300. The divorce finalized on a Wednesday morning. Patricia called with the news. "It's done. You're officially free." Simone stood on her balcony looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, Brandon was celebrating his freedom too. He had no idea that his ex-wife was worth billions. He had no idea what was coming. But Simone knew, and she smiled. 3 weeks after her divorce finalized, Simone stood in the Gloria Foundation headquarters for the first time since renovations completed. The building was perfect. 5 stories of hope. The ground floor housed a crisis center with 24-hour support. The second floor had classrooms for job training and financial literacy. The third floor offered legal consultation rooms and counseling offices. The fourth floor was emergency housing for women and children needing immediate shelter. The fifth floor held administrative offices. "It's more than I imagined," Nicole said, walking through the spaces. "You've created something amazing." The foundation's official launch was scheduled for next month. Simone had hired a team of 30 employees, all passionate about the mission. She'd partnered with local organizations and secured commitments from businesses to provide job opportunities for their clients. The endowment of $50 million was already generating returns. Simone had added another $20 million for operating expenses. Money wasn't the issue. Making a real difference was. Jerome became a regular presence at the foundation. His security company was installing the systems, but he often stayed late, discussing the project with Simone over coffee. "You never talk about yourself," he said one evening. "I know about the foundation, but who are you?" "I'm still figuring that out," Simone admitted. 6 months ago I was someone's wife. Now I'm just me. Just you is pretty impressive." Their friendship grew naturally. Jerome never pushed, never asked invasive questions. He simply existed in Simone's life as a steady, kind presence. Meanwhile, Brandon's world continued its slow implosion. Patricia received an interesting piece of information through her network. "Brandon's trying to refinance the house," she reported. "And he's been denied. Apparently, his debt-to-income ratio is too high." "The house I gave him?" "The very same. Tiffany's expensive tastes are catching up with them." Simone felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not pity. Just emptiness where feelings for Brandon used to exist. There's more, Patricia continued. I got a call from Brandon's lawyer. He wants to reopen the divorce settlement. On what grounds? He's claiming you hid assets during the proceedings. Now Simone felt something. Anger. I hid nothing. The inheritance came after we filed for legal separation. After he denied me $300 and chose another woman. Everything was legal and documented. I know. And I told his lawyer exactly that. I also mentioned that if he pursues this, we'd be happy to explain to a judge exactly how Brandon treated you. The $300 denial. The affair. All of it. What did they say? They withdrew the request immediately. But Simone, Brandon's getting desperate. He knows something's different. You need to be careful. Simone increased security at the foundation and her penthouse. She wasn't scared of Brandon physically, but she didn't want him showing up and causing problems. The foundation's soft launch happened quietly. 20 women moved into the shelter in the first week. Simone met with each one, listening to their stories, understanding their needs. One woman, Rachel, was 35 with 2 children. Her husband had controlled all their money for 15 years. She'd finally escaped with nothing but the clothes on her back. I don't know how to thank you, Rachel said, tears streaming down her face. I thought we'd be homeless. You're safe now, Simone assured her. Take your time. You'll learn. When you're ready, we'll help you build a new life. This was why she'd created the foundation. Every woman she helped was a version of herself that could have been. If she hadn't inherited billions, if she'd been truly stuck, this could have been her story. Jerome noticed the change in Simone after the shelter opened. You're different, he said. Lighter. I'm doing what I'm meant to do. For years I made my life about Brandon. About making him happy. Now I'm making my life about something that matters. You matter, Simone. Not just the foundation. You. Their eyes met and held. Something shifted between them. But Simone wasn't ready for that yet. She needed to stand on her own first. The foundation's grand opening was spectacular. Simone had invited press, donors, and community leaders. The event raised awareness and commitments for future funding. Photos from the event appeared in the local newspaper and online. Simone looked radiant in a blue dress, standing in front of the Gloria Foundation banner. That's when Brandon found out. Nicole called that evening. Brandon knows. He saw the photos online. He's losing his mind on social media. Simone's heart pounded. What's he saying? Nothing yet. But he's making calls. Trying to find out how you afforded this. Let him look. Everything's legal. Everything's documented. But Simone knew the piece was ending. Brandon would figure it out eventually. And when he did, things would get complicated. She called Patricia immediately. I need you to prepare for a fight. Brandon's going to discover the inheritance soon. Are you ready for that? Simone thought about the $300. About standing in her driveway while her husband chose another woman. About building this foundation and helping women find freedom. Yes, she said firmly. I'm ready. Because Brandon had made his choice that day in the driveway. He'd chosen Tiffany. He'd chosen cruelty. He'd chosen to leave. Now he'd have to live with the consequences. Simone decided to take control of the narrative. Waiting for Brandon to discover the truth felt like giving him power she no longer wanted him to have. On a Tuesday morning, she called Patricia. I want to hold a press conference. About the foundation, about its funding, about everything. That will expose your wealth publicly. I know. But hiding feels like shame. I have nothing to be ashamed of. My father left me his estate. I'm using it to help people. Brandon has no claim to any of it. You're absolutely right. Let's do it properly. The press conference was scheduled for the following week. In the meantime, Simone made a decision that would send a clear message to Brandon about exactly how done she was with him. She showed up at his office downtown at 3 p.m. on a Thursday. She'd called ahead to confirm he'd be there. She wore a tailored navy suit that cost more than Brandon's monthly salary and carried a manila envelope. The receptionist recognized her. Mrs. Patterson? It's Miss Cole now. My maiden name. I'm here to see Brandon. Does he know you're coming? No. But trust me, he'll want to see this. The receptionist hesitated, then made a call. 2 minutes later, Simone was being escorted to Brandon's floor. His office was in the middle of an open floor plan. Tiffany's desk was right next to his. Perfect. Brandon looked up when Simone approached. His face went pale. Simone? What are you doing here? Everyone in the office stopped working. All eyes turned to them. Simone placed the manila envelope on Brandon's desk. These are copies of the final divorce decree. I wanted to deliver them personally to make sure there's no confusion. We're done. Completely and legally done. I know that. You didn't need to come here. Oh, but I did. Because I've heard you've been making inquiries about my finances. Calling my lawyer. Trying to find grounds to contest our settlement. Brandon's face flushed red. Tiffany stood up from her desk. You have no right to talk to him like that, Tiffany said. Simone turned to her slowly. And you have no standing in this conversation at all. But since you're here, let me be clear. Brandon made his choice. He chose you. He denied me $300 for my father's funeral and walked away. That door is closed now. It will never open again. $300? Someone whispered nearby. The gossip was already spreading. Simone, let's talk privately, Brandon said, standing up. No. I'm done with private conversations. Everything I need to say can be said right here. You wanted out of our marriage. You got out. Now stay out. Stop calling my lawyer. Stop making inquiries. Move on with the life you chose. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Brandon? You might want to check the news next week. I'm doing a press conference about my charitable foundation. It's going to be quite interesting. She walked out with her head high, leaving chaos in her wake. Nicole was waiting in the car outside. How'd it go? Perfectly. He knows something's coming. He just doesn't know what. You're kind of terrifying right now. Good. The next few days were a whirlwind of preparation. Simone worked with a PR firm to craft her message. She practiced her statement. She coordinated with Mr. Harrison and Patricia to ensure every legal detail was airtight. Jerome called the night before the press conference. Are you nervous? Terrified. But in a good way. I'm taking back my narrative. You're one of the strongest people I've ever met. I'm just someone who got tired of being treated like nothing. You were never nothing, Simone. You just believed someone who was wrong. His words stayed with her through the sleepless night. The press conference was held at the foundation headquarters. Local news channels attended, along with reporters from major papers and online publications. Simone stood at the podium looking out at the cameras. Somewhere in the city, Brandon was watching. Good morning. My name is Simone Cole. 6 months ago, I lost my father. I hadn't known him well for most of my life, but we'd recently reconnected. His death was unexpected, and it changed everything. She paused, gathering her thoughts. My father left me his entire estate. After taxes, I inherited $3.2 billion. I'm sharing this publicly because I believe transparency matters, especially when using significant resources for public good. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled notes. The number hung in the air. I've established the Gloria Foundation, named after my mother, with a $70 million initial endowment. Our mission is to help women and children escape financial abuse and domestic violence. We provide shelter, legal services, job training, and comprehensive support. She went on to detail the foundation's programs, its impact, its vision. But she knew everyone was focused on one thing. $3.2 billion. I won't take questions today, but the foundation will be hosting an open house next month. Thank you. As she left the podium, she felt lighter than she had in months. Her phone started ringing immediately. Nicole, Patricia, Jerome, Mr. Harrison. All congratulatory. And then one number she didn't recognize. She almost didn't answer. But curiosity won. Simone, it's me. Brandon's voice was strangled. We need to talk. Now. No, we don't. $3 billion? Are you kidding me? When did you find out? The day you denied me $300 for my father's funeral. The day you chose Tiffany over basic human decency. I found out that same day. Silence. You knew? This whole time you knew. I knew. And I watched you choose to leave me anyway. I watched you take another woman home. I watched you refuse me the smallest bit of help when my father died. I watched you show me exactly who you are. Simone, wait. We can fix this. It was a mistake. Tiffany was a mistake. No, Brandon. Tiffany was a choice. Denying me $300 was a choice. Leaving me was a choice. And now I'm making a choice. To live my life without you in it. You're worth billions and you're choosing to be alone? I'm choosing to be free. There's a difference. She hung up. Nicole showed up at her penthouse an hour later with champagne. You did it? You really did it. I did. They sat on the balcony watching the sunset paint the sky. No regrets. Nicole asked. Simone thought about everything. The pain, the betrayal, the discovery. The foundation, the freedom, the future. Not a single one. The press conference exploded across social media. Within hours, Simone's face was everywhere. Local news ran segments on the mystery billionaire who'd been living quietly among them. The foundation's website crashed from traffic. Simone watched it all from her penthouse, feeling surreal. "You're trending on Twitter," Nicole reported, scrolling through her phone. #3 nationwide. Right below some celebrity scandal and a political thing. "That's terrifying. That's your life now. Oh, and wait until you see this." Nicole turned her phone around. Brandon's social media was public and people were finding his old posts. Someone had screenshot the photos he'd posted after their divorce, showing off the redecorated house with Tiffany. The comments were savage. "He left a billionaire for a gold digger. Imagine denying your wife $300 when she's worth billions. This is the best karma story I've ever seen." Simone felt a twinge of something. Not guilt exactly. Maybe pity. "I didn't want to humiliate him," she said quietly. "You didn't? He humiliated himself. You just told the truth." Patricia called that evening. Brandon's lawyer reached out again. "This time Brandon wants to meet with you. In person. With lawyers present." "What's his angle?" "He's claiming emotional distress. Says you deceived him about your financial situation." Simone laughed. "I deceived him? I inherited money after he left me. After he chose another woman. After he denied me $300. That's exactly what I told them. But he's desperate, Simone. His life is falling apart. That's not my problem." "I know. But he's making it your problem. He's telling people you trapped him in poverty while secretly being wealthy." "That's a lie." "Of course it is. But it's a narrative some people might believe. We need to get ahead of this." Simone agreed to one meeting. One chance to end this permanently. They met at Patricia's law office 2 days later. Brandon arrived with his lawyer and Tiffany. Simone had Patricia and Mr. Harrison. Brandon looked terrible. He'd lost weight. His eyes were shadowed. Tiffany clung to his arm but looked ready to bolt. "Thank you for coming," Brandon's lawyer began. "My client believes there was miscommunication during the divorce proceedings." "There was no miscommunication," Patricia said firmly. "Everything was clearly documented." Brandon leaned forward. "Simone, please. Just listen. I made a mistake. I see that now. But you lied to me. You had billions and you let me think you had nothing." "I had nothing when you left me," Simone said calmly. "I inherited the money the same day you denied me $300. The same day you revealed your affair. The same day you asked for a divorce. You should have told me." "What? So you could try to take it? So you could suddenly decide you loved me again?" "Brandon, that money revealed your truth. You left me when you thought I was worthless. You're only here now because you found out I'm not." Tiffany spoke for the first time. "He made a mistake. People make mistakes." Simone looked at her. Really looked at her. Tiffany was beautiful, polished, expensive. She was also scared. "Did Brandon tell you about the $300? Simone asked. Tiffany frowned. "What?" "My father died. I asked Brandon for $300 to help with funeral expenses. He denied me. Not because he didn't have it, but because he said I wasn't worth it. That's the day he brought you to our home and revealed your affair. Did he tell you that story?" Tiffany's face went pale. She turned to Brandon. "You said she was asking for money to go shopping." "That's not exactly. You lied to me." Tiffany stood up abruptly. "About everything." "Baby, wait. Don't baby me. I left my boyfriend for you. I moved into your house. I planned a wedding. And you lied." Tiffany walked out. Brandon started to follow, but his lawyer stopped him. "Mr. Patterson, we need to finish this meeting." But Brandon was broken. "She's gone. Just like that." "Karma," Nicole had said. Simone hadn't believed in it before. But watching Brandon crumble, she understood. "Is there anything else?" Patricia asked. Brandon's lawyer shook his head. "No. We have no legal standing here. The inheritance was after the separation date. Everything was properly documented." Brandon looked at Simone one last time. "I really loved you once." "No, you didn't. You loved having someone who made your life easier. You loved having control. But love? Real love doesn't deny $300 for a funeral. Real love doesn't bring another woman to your home. Real love doesn't leave when things get hard." "I'm sorry." "I know you are. You're sorry you lost billions. But Brandon, even if I had nothing, you'd still have lost me that day. The money just made it easier to leave." The meeting ended. Brandon left with his lawyer, looking defeated. Mr. Harrison spoke quietly. You handled that with remarkable grace. I'm tired of being angry. I just want to move forward. Over the next week, Brandon's story spread through their social circles. People who'd sided with him during the divorce quietly reached out to Simone with apologies. Old friends who'd disappeared called wanting to reconnect. Simone kept her circle small. Nicole, Jerome, her foundation team, her therapist. People who'd stood by her when she had nothing. The foundation's open house was a massive success. Over 500 people attended. Donations poured in from strangers who'd been touched by Simone's story. Jerome found her during the event, standing alone on the balcony overlooking the city. Tired of people? He asked. Tired of being the story. I just want to do the work. You will. This will die down. Then it'll just be you and the mission. Will you still be around then? She hadn't meant to ask it so directly. Jerome smiled. If you want me to be. I do. They stood together, watching the city lights come on as darkness fell. For the first time in months, Simone felt something like hope for her personal life. Brandon continued his downward spiral. He lost his job after the company decided his personal drama was affecting workplace morale. Tiffany moved out and blocked his number. The house he'd taken in the divorce went into foreclosure. Simone heard all this through the grapevine. She felt sorry for him, but she didn't intervene. This was his path now. His consequences. She had her own path to walk. And it was beautiful. 2 months after the press conference, Simone's life had settled into a new normal. The media attention had faded. The foundation was thriving. She'd helped over 100 women find safety and new beginnings. And Jerome had become a regular part of her life. They had dinner every Thursday night, alternating who chose the restaurant. They talked about everything from childhood memories to future dreams. He never once asked about her money or treated her differently because of it. My mom wants to meet you, Jerome said one Thursday over Italian food. Really? I talk about you a lot. She's curious about the woman who's taking up all my time. Simone's heart fluttered. I'd like that. Meanwhile, Brandon's life had become a cautionary tale. Nicole still kept tabs through mutual friends. He's living with his parents, Nicole reported during one of their weekly coffee dates. At 34 years old. He can't find a job because everyone in the industry knows what happened. That's sad. You're too kind. He deserves it. Maybe. But I don't enjoy his suffering. I just want him out of my life. But Brandon wasn't ready to be out of her life. Security at the foundation called Simone one afternoon. Miss Cole, there's a Brandon Patterson here demanding to see you. Should we call the police? No. Let him in. I'll meet him in the conference room. Patricia objected when Simone called to tell her. You shouldn't meet with him alone. I won't be alone. Security will be right outside. And I'm recording the conversation. Brandon looked even worse than he had at the lawyer's office. His clothes were wrinkled. He hadn't shaved. His eyes were desperate. Thank you for seeing me, he said. You have 10 minutes. Simone, I'm ruined. I lost everything. My job, my home, Tiffany. All of it. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Really? Yes. I don't hate you, Brandon. I'm just done with you. I need help. There it was. The real reason he'd come. Help with what? Money. Just enough to get back on my feet. Maybe 50,000? You have billions. It would be nothing to you. Simone took a deep breath. This was the test. The final test. Do you remember when I asked you for $300? Simone, I said I was sorry. Do you remember? Brandon hung his head. Yes. My father had just died. I was grieving. I needed help. And you said no. You said I wasn't worth $300. That I was a burden. Then you brought another woman to our home and asked for a divorce. I know. I was wrong. Yes, you were. And now you're asking me for $50,000. That's interesting. I'm desperate. So was I. But you didn't care then. So this is revenge? You're going to watch me suffer? No, Brandon. This isn't revenge. This is boundaries. You made it clear that day what I was worth to you. Nothing. You chose Tiffany. You chose cruelty. You chose to leave. Now you have to live with those choices. Please. I'm begging you. I'm going to tell you what I wish someone had told me when I was struggling. You're capable of rebuilding your life. But you have to do it yourself. Not with my money. Not by running back to people you hurt. You have to stand on your own feet and figure out who you want to be. That's easy for you to say with your billions. I had nothing when you left me. The only difference between us is that I got lucky with an inheritance. But even without that money, I would have survived. I would have rebuilt. Because that's what you do when someone shows you they don't value you. You value yourself. Simone stood up. Your 10 minutes are up. Security will show you out. And Brandon? Don't come here again. I've moved on. You should too. After he left, Simone sat alone in the conference room, shaking. She'd done it. She'd held firm. She'd respected her boundaries. Jerome appeared in the doorway. Security called me. Are you okay? I'm better than okay. I finally feel free. That weekend, Jerome took Simone to meet his mother. Mrs. Johnson lived in a modest house in the suburbs. She answered the door with a warm smile and pulled Simone into a hug. It's so good to meet you. Jerome hasn't stopped talking about you for months. Over lunch, Mrs. Johnson shared stories about raising Jerome alone after leaving his father. About the shelter that saved them. About rebuilding their lives from nothing. When Jerome told me about your foundation, I cried, Mrs. Johnson said. Someone helped me when I had nowhere to go. Now you're helping others. That's beautiful. It's the least I can do. It's everything to the women you're helping. Don't minimize that. After lunch, Jerome and Simone walked in the garden. Your mom is wonderful, Simone said. She likes you. That's important to me. It's important to me too. Jerome stopped walking and turned to face her. Simone, I need to say something. I've been patient because I know you're healing from everything with Brandon. But I can't keep pretending I don't have feelings for you. Simone's heart raced. I admire you. I respect you. And somewhere along the way I fell in love with you. Not your money. The woman who builds foundations to help people. Who treats everyone with kindness. Who had the strength to walk away from someone who didn't deserve her. Jerome. You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. Simone looked at this man who'd been patient and kind. Who'd never asked for anything. Who saw her for who she truly was. I'm scared, she admitted. Brandon destroyed my ability to trust. I know. I'm not asking you to trust me completely right now. I'm just asking for a chance. Simone thought about the past 6 months. About everything she'd survived. About the life she'd built from ashes. Okay, she said softly. A chance. Jerome's smile was worth everything. Meanwhile, Brandon's story continued its downward spiral. But for the first time, Simone didn't care. She had her own story to write now. And it was going to be beautiful. 3 months after meeting Jerome's mother, Simone's life had transformed into something she'd never imagined possible. The foundation was helping over 300 women annually. She'd purchased an additional building to expand services. And Jerome had become her partner in every sense of the word. Their relationship developed slowly, carefully. He never pushed, never demanded. Just showed up consistently, proving day after day that he was different from Brandon. One evening, they sat on her penthouse balcony watching the city lights. I got a call today, Simone said. From a journalist writing a book about women who overcame financial abuse. She wants to include my story. What did you say? I said yes. If my story helps even one woman recognize her worth, it's worth telling. Jerome took her hand. You're remarkable. I'm just someone who got a second chance. You're someone who took that second chance and built something incredible with it. The foundation's annual gala was approaching. It would be Simone's first major public event since the press conference. She'd invited major donors, community leaders, and press. Nicole helped her shop for a dress. They settled on a stunning emerald gown that made Simone feel powerful and beautiful. You're going to blow everyone away, Nicole said. I'm nervous. What if Brandon shows up? Security has his photo. He won't get within a block of the event. The gala was held at the city's most prestigious hotel. The ballroom sparkled with elegant decorations. 500 guests attended, each paying $1,000 per ticket, all proceeds going to the foundation. Simone stood at the entrance, greeting guests. Jerome was by her side in a tuxedo, looking handsome and supportive. Then she saw her mother. Gloria Cole walked in wearing a simple but elegant dress. Simone had sent her an invitation but hadn't expected her to come. They'd been distant for years, their relationship strained by poverty and struggle. Mom? Gloria's eyes filled with tears. You look beautiful, baby. They embraced for the first time in years. I'm so proud of you, Gloria whispered. Your father would be too. I named the foundation after you. I know. That meant everything. Gloria met Jerome and immediately approved. He looks at you the way you deserve to be looked at. The gala exceeded every expectation. Simone gave a speech about the foundation's impact, sharing stories of women they'd helped rebuild their lives. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. Donations poured in. By the end of the night, they'd raised $2 million. Jerome found Simone after her speech, pulling her onto the dance floor. "You're amazing," he said as they swayed to the music. "I had help. You had wealth. You chose to do something meaningful with it. That's all you." Later that night, back at the penthouse, Simone reflected on how much had changed. A year ago, she'd been standing in her driveway being denied $300. Now she just raised $2 million for charity. But the money wasn't what mattered. What mattered was the healing, the growth, the choice to become someone new. News of Brandon filtered through occasionally. He'd found a job in another city, starting over at a much lower position. Tiffany had gotten engaged to someone else. The house had been sold to cover debts. Simone felt nothing when she heard these updates. No satisfaction, no anger. Just indifference. Brandon was someone she used to know, nothing more. The foundation continued growing. Simone opened satellite locations in 3 other cities. She hired more staff, developed new programs, partnered with corporations to provide job placements. One afternoon, a young woman named Destiny came to Simone's office. "I wanted to thank you," Destiny said. "I came here 6 months ago with nothing. You gave me shelter, helped me get job training, connected me with a lawyer. Now I have my own apartment and a good job. You saved my life." Simone hugged her. "You saved your own life. I just provided resources." "No, you provided hope. That's more valuable than anything." Stories like Destiny's filled Simone's days. Each woman who walked through the foundation doors and later walked out stronger reminded Simone why she'd chosen this path. Jerome proposed on the anniversary of their first date. Not with an extravagant display, but a quiet moment in her penthouse, just the two of them. "I love you, Simone Cole. Not your money. Not your foundation. The woman who fought her way back from betrayal and chose to help others instead of becoming bitter. Will you marry me?" The ring was simple, elegant, perfect. Nothing like the huge diamond Brandon had once promised Tiffany. Simone said yes without hesitation. They planned a small wedding. Just close friends and family. Gloria cried through the entire ceremony. Mrs. Johnson gave a touching toast about love that heals. Standing at the altar with Jerome, Simone thought about the path that had led her here. The pain, the betrayal, the discovery. The choice to rebuild instead of collapse. Brandon had denied her $300, thinking it made him powerful. Instead, it had set her free. As Jerome kissed her, Simone realized something profound. The best revenge wasn't destroying Brandon. It was building a life so beautiful that his rejection became meaningless. She'd won. Not because she had billions, but because she'd chosen joy over bitterness, growth over stagnation, love over hate. And that was worth more than any amount of money. 6 months into her marriage with Jerome, Simone had achieved a balance she'd never thought possible. She ran the foundation with passion, loved her husband deeply, and maintained healthy boundaries with everyone in her life. The foundation was now operating in 7 cities, helping thousands of women annually. Simone had been featured in Forbes as one of the nation's most impactful philanthropists under 40. Life was good. Better than good. It was everything she dreamed of. Then Brandon reappeared. Security called on a Tuesday morning. "Miss Cole, there's a Brandon Patterson at the front desk. He says it's an emergency." Simone's stomach dropped. "Tell him I'm not available." "He says he'll wait." "Should we call the police?" "No. I'll handle it." She called Jerome immediately. "Brandon's here. I'm coming over." "No, stay at work. I can handle this. But I wanted you to know." Jerome hesitated. "Call me as soon as he leaves." Simone went down to the lobby. Brandon was pacing near the windows, looking even worse than last time. His clothes were shabby. He'd aged years and months. "Simone, thank God. I need your help." "Brandon, I told you not to come here." "I know, but this is serious. I'm in real trouble." "That's not my problem. Please, just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." Against her better judgment, Simone led him to a private conference room. She left the door open and stood near it. "Talk. I made mistakes. With investments, with money. I'm being sued. If I don't come up with $100,000, I'll lose everything." "You already lost everything." "I know, and I deserve it. I was terrible to you. I see that now. But Simone, I'm desperate. I've hit rock bottom. And you think I should save you? You have billions. 100,000 is nothing to you. Please, I'm begging." Simone looked at the man she'd once loved. The man who'd denied her $300. The man who'd brought another woman to their home. The man who'd called her worthless. "Do you remember our wedding vows?" she asked. Brandon looked confused. What? Our vows. You promised to love me in sickness and health. For richer or poorer. You broke those vows the moment things got hard. The moment you thought I couldn't benefit you financially. I made a mistake. You made a choice. You chose Tiffany. You chose to deny me $300 when my father died. You chose to treat me like I was worthless. Those were choices, Brandon. Not mistakes. So you're just going to watch me suffer? No. I'm going to watch you face consequences. There's a difference. Simone moved toward the door. I helped you build your career, Brandon said desperately. I supported you through college. I deserve something for that. You deserve exactly what you gave me when I needed help. Nothing. Fine. Brandon's voice turned ugly. I'll go to the press. I'll tell them how you're a heartless billionaire who won't help people in need. I'll destroy your reputation. Simone turned back slowly. Go ahead. Tell them how your ex-wife, who you denied $300 for her father's funeral, won't bail you out of bad financial decisions. Tell them how you left her for another woman and now want her money. See how much sympathy you get. Brandon deflated. I have nowhere else to turn. Then turn inward. Figure out who you want to be. Get a job, any job. Work your way back up. Take responsibility for your choices. But don't come to me expecting to be rescued. You've become cold. No, Brandon. I've become strong. There's a difference. Security escorted Brandon out. He went quietly, finally understanding that this door was permanently closed. Simone returned to her office and called Jerome. He wanted money, she reported. I said no. How do you feel? Relieved. I stood my ground. I didn't waver. I'm proud of you. That evening, Brandon's threats materialized. He posted on social media about how his billionaire ex-wife refused to help him while pretending to care about helping women. The post backfired spectacularly. Comments flooded in, almost all supporting Simone. She's not your personal bank account. You denied her $300 for her father's funeral. Why would she give you anything? She helps women escape financial abuse. You are financial abuse. Within hours, Brandon deleted the post. But screenshots lived forever. Nicole called, laughing. Have you seen the responses? The internet is destroying him. I almost feel bad. Don't. He brought this on himself. Every single bit of it. Patricia called next. Brandon's lawyer contacted me. They're withdrawing all claims and requests. He's finally accepting that you owe him nothing. Good. There's something else. Brandon's being evicted from his apartment. He's moving back across the country to live with his brother. That's probably for the best. A fresh start somewhere new might help him. You're very gracious considering everything he did. I'm not being gracious. I'm just done carrying anger. It's too heavy. The next day, an article appeared in a major publication. The journalist who'd interviewed Simone months ago had published her story. The article detailed everything. Brandon's denial of $300. The affair. The inheritance. Simone's choice to build a foundation instead of seeking revenge. The headline read, "The best revenge is living well, how one woman turned betrayal into billions of impact." The article went viral. Interview requests poured in. The foundation's website crashed again from traffic. Donations surged. But the most meaningful response came from women sharing their own stories. Thousands of comments and emails about husbands who controlled money, partners who made them feel worthless, relationships where financial abuse created invisible cages. You gave me courage to leave, one email read. I was scared because he controlled everything. But if you could rebuild, maybe I can too. Simone realized her story was bigger than her. It was about every woman who'd been made to feel small. Every woman who'd been denied dignity. Every woman who deserved better. The foundation launched a new program specifically for financial abuse survivors, offering emergency funds, financial literacy training, and legal support. Jerome supported every step. He'd taken a position as the foundation's security director, using his expertise to keep clients safe. You're doing more than running a charity, he said one night. You're starting a movement. I'm just telling the truth. That women deserve respect. That abuse isn't always physical. That financial control is real and damaging. And Brandon accidentally gave you the platform to say it. Simone smiled. I guess I should thank him for that. But she wouldn't. Because Brandon was her past. The foundation, Jerome, the women she helped, that was her present and future. And it was beautiful. 2 years after Brandon's final desperate visit, Simone stood in front of a crowd of 5,000 people at the foundation's national conference. The The Gloria Foundation now operated in 20 states, had helped over 10,000 women, and had inspired similar organizations across the country. But numbers weren't why Simone did this work. She did it for women like Rachel, who now managed one of the foundation's satellite offices. For Destiny, who'd gone back to school and was studying to be a social worker. For the countless women who walked through their doors broken and left standing tall. When my father died, Simone said into the microphone, I asked my then-husband for $300 to help with funeral expenses. He said no. He told me I wasn't worth it. That same day, I discovered I'd inherited $3 billion. The crowd murmured. This story had become famous, but hearing it directly from Simone still carried power. That $300 denial changed my life. Not because of the money I inherited, but because it showed me the truth. My husband had valued me at less than $300. And I'd been accepting that valuation. She paused, letting the words sink in. Here's what I learned. Your worth isn't determined by someone else's inability to see it. Your value isn't measured by what others are willing to give you. You are inherently worthy regardless of your bank account, your relationship status, or your circumstances. Thunderous applause filled the conference hall. The Gloria Foundation exists because I believe every woman deserves resources to leave situations where she's undervalued. We provide emergency funds, shelter, legal services, job training, and most importantly, we provide belief. We believe you. We believe in you. We believe you deserve better. After her speech, Simone met with foundation clients and staff. Each conversation reminded her why she'd chosen this path. Jerome found her during a break, bringing water and a knowing smile. You're in your element, he said. I never thought I'd be good at public speaking. You're not just good at it. You're changing lives with your words. They've been married for 18 months now. Their relationship was nothing like Simone's marriage to Brandon. It was built on respect, equality, and genuine love. Jerome never made her feel small. He celebrated her success without feeling threatened. That evening, back at their home, they'd sold the penthouse and bought a beautiful house with a yard. Simone's phone rang. A known number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Simone? It's Brandon. She hadn't heard his voice in 2 years. How did you get this number? I called the foundation. They wouldn't give it to me, but I kept trying until someone made a mistake. I'm not calling to ask for anything. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Simone walked onto the back porch, away from Jerome. Okay. I've been in therapy. Real therapy. Working through why I treated you the way I did. And I realized something. I was scared of your strength. You were always smarter than me, more capable. I kept you small because I was afraid you'd realize you were too good for me. You were right to be afraid. I was too good for you. Brandon laughed bitterly. Yeah, I know that now. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that you were right about everything. The $300 revealed who I really was. And I'm ashamed of that person. What do you want me to say, Brandon? Nothing. I just needed to acknowledge the harm I caused. You deserved better. You always did. I know. I saw your speech today. Online. You're doing incredible things. I am. I'm glad you found happiness. You earned it. After they hung up, Simone stood on the porch for a long time. She felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no pain. Just peace. Jerome came out, wrapping his arms around her from behind. Everything okay? Brandon called. To apologize. How do you feel? Indifferent. He's just a person I used to know. Someone who taught me what I don't want. And what do you want? Simone turned in his arms. This. The foundation. A life where I'm valued and appreciated. Where I value and appreciate myself. You have all of that. I know. And it's everything. The next month, Simone made a decision. She bought her childhood home, the small house where she'd grown up with her mother. It was run down now, abandoned for years. She renovated it completely, turning it into the foundation's first residential training center. Women could live there for up to a year while completing intensive job training and financial education programs. At the opening ceremony, Gloria cut the ribbon, tears streaming down her face. You took the pain of your childhood and turned it into hope for others, Gloria said. I couldn't be prouder. Simone looked at the house, now transformed. Just like her life had been transformed. She thought about the woman she'd been 2 years ago, standing in a driveway being denied $300, watching her husband choose another woman, feeling worthless. That woman was gone now. In her place was someone stronger, wiser, more complete. The foundation continued growing. Simone launched a national campaign about financial abuse, bringing the issue into mainstream conversation. She testified before Congress about the need for stronger protections for victims. Brandon's life stabilized too. He'd moved across the country, remarried someone who seemed good for him, and was managing a small tech company. Simone heard this through mutual acquaintances and felt nothing but mild interest. Tiffany had married a wealthy older man and seemed happy. Good for her. Nicole became the foundation's chief operating officer, using her business degree to scale operations effectively. Jerome and Simone talked about starting a family. Not yet, but someday. When the foundation was stable enough that Simone could take time away. On the 3-year anniversary of that day in the driveway, Simone wrote a blog post for the foundation's website. 3 years ago, someone I loved told me I wasn't worth $300. He was wrong. Not because I inherited billions, but because worth isn't measured in dollars at all. You are worth investing in. Worth fighting for. Worth building a life around. Not because of what you have, but because of who you are. If someone in your life makes you feel worthless, believe them. Believe they can't see your value. Then find people who can. Find communities that celebrate you. Build a life that reflects your true worth. That's what I did. And it saved my life. The post went viral, shared millions of times. It resonated because it was true. Jerome read it that evening, then pulled Simone close. Do you ever regret how things turned out? He asked. Not even for a second. Brandon's rejection was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because of the money? No. Because it forced me to see my own value. The money just gave me options. But the choice to leave, to rebuild, to become someone new? That was all me. You're extraordinary. I'm just someone who refused to accept being treated as less than I'm worth. They sat together on their porch, watching the sunset. Somewhere in the world, Brandon was living his life. Tiffany was living hers. And Simone was living hers. A life built not on bitterness or revenge, but on purpose and love. A life where she helped others find their worth. A life where she was valued, respected, and genuinely happy. Brandon had denied her $300, thinking it made him powerful. Instead, it had set her free. And Simone had taken that freedom and built an empire of hope. That was the best revenge of all. Not destruction, but creation. Not bitterness, but beauty. Not looking back, but moving forward into a life so magnificent that the past became irrelevant. Simone had won. Not by defeating Brandon, but by becoming someone he could never diminish. And she would spend the rest of her life helping other women do the same.